Ken Flag, MMT Flag, All Points Bulletin on Human Genome Weekly Move for Ken Flag. When we were over here, Ken Flag, back on 2/8 of 2010 at 1200 a.m., we were 29.91 pennies. Half weekly bar. Over here, we had come off these extreme lows when they were manipulating human genome. Is that we can see over here during this time frame back in February that the weekly move was $2.20 or $3.93, it looks like. No, $2.23 on the week, which is a good move for human genome. Well, when we are looking at our SMF platform, some of the upper numbers, I'm going to take half a bar right there. Half bar. 24, no, half bar is 29.37. Okay, half bar here. This half bar here, let's get it. There it is, Ken Flag. Ken Flag. There it is. Half bar, 27.88, Ken Flag.
Die.
Now, Ken Flag, half bar, right here. Half bar flag, 26.05, and that was on 11/1 of 2010 at 1200 a.m. And at that time, it was 2.88, $2.88 of downside volatility. That right now is going to be where we have to close above that price, Ken Flag, on a weekly level. Today is Monday, the beginning of a new week, Ken Flag. So therefore, now watch, Ken Flag. Half of this bar right here, Flag. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do you see it? That's 25.06, Ken Flag. And Ken Flag, we're a bid and ask right now. You can see the bid and ask is 25.76 by 77 pennies. So on a weekly level ratio, Ken Flag, you are above that bar. Today's date is right here, Flag. 110. You can see that movement there. And what I'm trying to tell you is this half bar right here was 24.40. So you're well above the week of 1/3 of 2010. Here it is a week later, Ken Flag. Here, I'm going to keep that open. Half bar, Ken Flag, 24.40. Ken Flag, you're printing at 76, 25.76 ratio by 25.77 ratio. So that means you're above the ratio, Ken Flag, in the previous week closing bar. That means that the actual momentum cycle is building, Ken Flag. So therefore, any good news or any good breakouts, it's how to identify that momentum change. They were manipulating the stock way back over here. We walked in a beautiful trend all the way up to these highs, Flag. The high that day was $30.48. Right there. You can see where it says high. And the thing about it is we slid that bid. We could never get above that delta line, and down we went, and they manipulated it. They manipulated it. They manipulated it. Remember the equity had a 13-2 approval, Ken Flag? Don't you remember that at the advisory committee? You darn well you did, Ken Flag. And not only that, Mr. Flag, you know how they stole all that premium out of the options in the options market, and we're going to be doing a special video on that. Isn't that true, MMT Flag?
Yes, sir.
That's exactly right. So basically what you're looking for on a weekly, Mr. Flag, is how that momentum changes. But you see that last breakout up here of 30.48, that this new cycle, meaning that the manipulation and those days are out of the name, you will get that ratio dollar price action through these. Each one of these on a weekly is $1.17. Now, Flag, let's go take a look and see what our upper resistance levels is. So we got $1.17, Ken. Look it over here, Mr. Flag. if we go 5 deltas, that's 31.18. 4 deltas is 30.01 for you, Flag.
Nice.
So these are the prices here. And here's that 26.5. 1 delta for a week. We're going to see, Flag, since it's Monday, 1/10 of 2011 week, is how many of these upside deltas could we possibly move? 5 deltas from the current level. Price to delta is $5.43 to the upside from here, Mr. Flag. Now, each day the delta weekly movement will change, and as long as we're not diminishing, then we're building that momentum, Mr. Flag. And it's very important for you to understand the ratio, Mr. Flag. And you have the numbers. There's 24.48, Mr. Flag. That's the previous weekly bars. That's the full length of it, because a weekly doesn't put the whole thing. It won't have a full bar until the end of the 5 days. That's why we can go over here and click on a daily chart, Mr. Flag. And the power of the daily, which is a different price action movement, that's 59 pennies on a half. Now, Mr. Flag. Let's populate the market. Look at that. It populated it all the way up. So let's take a look at the delta, and let's take a look at these price action lines on a daily movement. That's where you slid the bid up here, and we're headed that way starting out the week. And that's that teeny line, which also came up with those numbers that we did at that 26.05 half bar on the weekly. And basically, you're looking for that weekly 5-day movement under the hood. 5 of these days in a row, Mr. Flag. Let's populate it right now. Now, what they've been doing with the name is selling it down, creating all kinds of bad things about human genome, and that human genome should be punished and not rewarded for its wonderful treatments for lupus and other oncology type products that could happen in the future, Mr. Flag, and that we've got a complete coverage of this on stockmarketfunding.com. There's a complete page and all the history and everything that I've talked about in this chart that actually went on. And your thing, Mr. Flag, was you called for full investigation of the name. And now we have started that investigation, Mr. Flag. And basically, when we look at these half delta movements up, some of those numbers that we're talking about, this is where they were back over here. And we're starting to leverage that up 3 days in a row with a 4th day gap in an actual price action, but it starts brand new. 25.76 is half bar. You're currently trading at 76 by 77 pennies on the daily bar for right now. It opened right here at 25.46. It went to, they shook it down less than a half delta, 25.24. That's your range off the bottom. 2.4 ratio to 8.2 ratio, Mr. Flag. And there's lots of upside numbers that we talked about on the weekly. And let's go in here and let me take a look at my half delta. Oh boy, way up here, $60. Isn't that something? Well, it's got a price up there. Who knows whenever that could happen. I'm not saying that that would be today or anytime soon, but over, a year, who knows? Very easily. Mr. Flag, on a half delta, I got 25.92. On a full delta, I got 26.50. On 1.5 deltas, I got 27.09. And 2 full deltas, I got 27.67. Ken Flag.
Yep.
And that was part of them weekly bars that we were looking at. So, what you want to see is a compounded daily ratio ascending pattern in your brain. So, when we take a look up above what's above the floor, well, gee, if I go look it up here, I can see 29.25. Because those are the half delta movements, Mr. Flag, to the upside. Just as they were to the downside, they also are to the upside. Human Genome Sciences. Human Genome Sciences alert.